Welcome everyone to our channel. Now I'm going to talk about the latest news that's happening today. Doctor push for coronavirus treatment with recovered patient blood. In the absence of vaccines of antiviral drugs, researchers at Johns Hopkins University in Baltimore said the case is slowing and treating the coronavirus may be hidden in the blood of those who already recovered from the disease. The method of using convalescent serum, essentially harvesting virus-fighting antibodies from the blood of previously infected patients. They spent more than a century, but has not been used widely in the United States in decades. NBC News report. During the Spanish flu epidemic of 1918, scientists reported that transfusion of blood products obtained from survival led to a 15% drop in deaths among severely ill patients. A similar strategy was used to treat and slow spread the polio and measles outbreak decades ago. But the technical field lost the favor in the 1950s with the innovation of modern vaccine science and antiviral drugs, said Dr. Arturo Casadevall, chair of the Molecular Microbiology and Immunology Department at the Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health. When Casadevall learned in December that a new coronavirus was spreading rapidly in China, he started telling colleagues that it might be time to review that antivirus treatment. Bill Gates left Microsoft board. Microsoft announced on Friday that Bill Gates is leaving the board. Gates is also stepping down from his position on the board of Berkshire Hathaway. I have made the decision to step down from both of the public boards on the which I serve, Microsoft and Berkshire Hathaway, to dedicate more time to philanthropic priorities including global health and development, education, and my increasing investment in tackling climate change, Gates said on LinkedIn. The leadership at the Berkshire companies and Microsoft had never been stronger, so the time is right to take this step. With respect to Microsoft, stepping down from the board in no way means to stepping away from the company, Gates said. Microsoft will always be an important part of my life work and I will continue to be engaged with Satya and the technical leadership to help shape the vision and achieve the company's ambitious goals. I feel more optimistic than ever about the progress the company is making and how it can continue to benefit the world. Gates co-founded Microsoft in 1975 with Paul Allen, who died in 2018. Gates was CEO until 2000 when Steve Ballmer took over the role. Microsoft current CEO, Satya Nadella, took over in 2014. Gates was director of the board at Microsoft until 2014 but began dedicating more of his time to the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation in 2008. Gates is among Microsoft's top shareholders. He owns 1.36% of shares, according to the French state. The company went public in 1986 and is now one of the most highly valued companies in the world with a market cap of $1.21 trillion. It's been a tremendous honor and privilege to have worked with and learned from Bill over the years, said Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella. Bill founded our company with a belief in the democratizing force of software and a passion to show society more pressing challenge, and Microsoft and the world are better for it. The board had benefits from the Bill leadership and vision, and Microsoft will continue to benefit from Bill's ongoing technical passions and right to rise our product and service forward. I am grateful for Bill's leadership and look forward to continuing to work alongside him to realize our mission to improve every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. Trump declared national emergency to combat coronavirus, authorized weighing of law and regulation. Trump confessed he faced increasing criticism over his administration's response to the pandemic. President Donald Trump on Friday announced a series of measures to combat the coronavirus and treat those who are affected. while pushing back on criticism that his administration was unprepared to confront the pandemic. Speaking in the White House Rose Garden, Trump declared a national emergency that could free up $15 billion to help fight the pandemic and said that he was empowering the Secretary of Health and Human Services to wear certain laws and regulations to ensure the virus can be contained to patient treat. To unleash the full power of the federal government, I am officially declaring a national emergency, Trump said. Two very big words, he added. Trump said Dyson would open up access to up to $15 billion for states and territories and locally installed share fights against the disease. Flanked by Vice President Mike Pence, Health and Human Services Secretary Alex Azar and other federal officials and corporate executives from companies such as Walmart. Trump said that the ability to waive certain laws and regulations would allow for easier admission to nursing homes and then limits on the length of hospital stays and the number of beds available. He announced that 1.5 million new tests for the coronavirus would be available next week and that 5 million would be available within the next month. Also, he added that I don't think we need that quantity. He also said there were plans to allow drive-through virus tests. In an unusual and lengthy news conference, a break of business later took turn speaking after Trump, before the president and other federal officials made additional key announcements related to the administration's coronavirus response. Trump shook hands with several of those business leaders as he introduced them in the late term. A breach of best practice recommended by public health sick-beds across the United States. After the corporate leader spoke, Trump and other officials finally announced additional measures to confront the pandemic, which include the waiving of interest on federal student loans and the purchase of large quantities of foreign for the U.S. Strategic Oil Reserve. Officials also said they would be offering guidance to suspend all visitation to nursing homes, with exception being made only for an applied situation. Nevertheless, stock market, which had recently fallen 20% from its largest high, delving formally to bear territory, reacted favorably at the announcement. The Dow Jones Industrial Average rose steadily as Trump spoke and closed for the day up nearly 2,000 points, or 9.4%. Trump, seen in photographs to have been in close proximity with people who have been tested positive for the coronavirus, also suggested Friday he would most likely get tested for the disease. Not for that reason, but because I think I will do it anyway, Trump said, when questioned by reporters about standing next to an aide to Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro and his Mar-a-Lago resort last weekend. Trump had hinted Thursday that he was strongly considering taking emergency action, telling reporters in the Oval Office that he was thinking invoking the Stanford Act to declare a national emergency. A national emergency declaration from the president would effectively create access to billions in federal aid to help with the pandemic. Plans for the emergency declaration will first reported Bloomberg News. Under the Stanford Act, an infectious disease emergency declaration by the president would allow the Federal Emergency Management Agency to provide disaster relief funding to state and local governments, as well as federal assistance to support the coronavirus response. The law allows the agency to circumvent legal barriers to more quickly distribute such aid. Emergency declarations are most often used in the event of natural disaster, but can also be applied to disease outbreak. The president had talked earlier about the Friday press conference amid the rapid spread of the virus and as the White House has scrambled to grab a strategy to shift Trump's response to the outbreak, which had been focused on doubling the threat and accusing the media of creating undue concerns. Trump has come under increasing fire in recent weeks over his response to the outbreak, while his administration greater criticism for the lack of coronavirus testing being done compared with other countries. Asked Friday at his press conference by NBC News Kristen Welker whether he should take responsibility for the failure to disseminate Logi's quality of tests earlier, Trump declined. "I don't take responsibility at all," he said. I hope you like this and just like and subscribe my channel. Thank you for watching and see you later in the next video.